start on the Zencaster and start on the Skype.
All right.
So go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to start. Mr. Miyagi. Hello there, Packer Nation, and welcome to another edition of the Absolute Packer Podcast. We are on episode 65, which I am going to call, I'm going to have to tell about the backstory on this, guys, but hey, it's worth it, right? I'm calling this one Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon, obviously because we played the Falcons and we beat them, but real quickly, that phrase comes from the movie Die Hard when it was on TV, normal TV about 10 years ago, and they have to bleep out all the swear words, and they dubbed in with a voice that sounded nothing like Bruce Willis, Yippee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon. We obviously know what he really said, but it just struck me as, something that would work well. Plus, I am silly and random, so it just fits in. All right, without further ado, I am Andrew Hetzel, and here are my cohorts, Ellie Christensen and Jeremy Houtel. What's up, boys?
Woo, woo. We need some fake fan noise to
some fake crowd noise.
When we come in.
Yeah. I mean, even though we're all remote, we should just COVID test, right? We're not even in the same building. We're in the same city, but we'll have to show our test results to make sure.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't virtually cough on anybody.
You have to.
Yeah, I really shouldn't be making fun of that, but you have to do something, right?
You can make fun of that.
I know, really. It's the only way to stay sane, for Pete's sake.
You can live and laugh at the same time.
This is
exactly.
Look at me. I make fun of everything and anything, and here I am.
You know what? You're not making fun of being sick. You're making fun of
the virus.
No, well, I mean, if you know what, you can make fun of the virus.
There you go.
F the virus. F the virus.
There you go. And that's a good bumper sticker. I'm making fun of the virus. F the virus. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Steer it back, Andy. Anyway, good to have you guys here. Look, I mean, Packers are 4-0. They're going into the bye, and they need it. They've been pretty healthy. I mean, relatively speaking, I guess every team's kind of banged up, but they're pretty banged up. So I think, not a huge fan of early buys. I can't imagine any team is. But, hey, it is what it is, as they say. So I guess we'll take it. We can get some guys back. But, the highlight or the summary here, the Packers dispatched, dare I say, listless Atlanta Falcons. I think we can say that at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football to improve the record of 4-0. I mean, you play who's in front of you, right? I think the Packers, their opponent's combined record is 1 win and 12 losses or something. But the league itself, I mean, defenses are kind of down around the league. Everything's wonky. Everything's upside down. True. And again, you play who's on your schedule. So at this point, I don't think we're going to, make excuses for winning anymore, especially considering LaFleur and in his tenure and Rodgers without McCarthy is 17-3. Amazing.
Yeah. What's McCarthy's record?
1-3, and he is a hair away from being 0-4. The Falcons, when they did that goofy onside kick where basically they watched it just spin around or whatever. But this is not the Absolute Falcons podcast, but the Absolute McCarthy podcast is the Absolute Packers podcast.
Oh, so fine.
Now, any chance we can get to pour salt in the wounds of those who have moved on, I guess we'll do. But yeah, it's only right? But so I have here for kind of the lead. The Packers came into this game pretty banged up. Davante Adams was held out of this game, I think, more so for precautionary measures. He actually tweeted out a little bit before the game. He's like, "I know my body, I want to play," and then I think he deleted it. But you want your guys to play, but sometimes you got to save them from themselves. And again, as much as they don't say it, I think he was probably held out because they were playing the Falcons and they were about to go into the bye. If they were playing Seattle, might have played. Right. I think there's a decent chance. And Kenny Clark, he's been out since basically the end of the first quarter of the first game, right? With the groin injury. So I got to think they'll get Kenny Clark back and Davante Adams without question after the bye. Alan Lazard, we learned early last week or was it mid last week?
It was about mid of Wednesday.
Yeah. He was out too, and he's going to be out for past the bye, probably a month if I had to
guess. At least a month.
Because he had surgery on a core muscle injury. So Rodgers was without his top two receivers. And the Packers dispatched Atlanta to the tune of 30-16, dropping the Falcons to 0-4. Was it 30-16? I hope I have that right.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
I don't know why. I was almost wanting to say 37-6, but that's not right. So, yeah, I mean, without getting into all the details right now, what are your guys' thoughts on what you saw?
Well, I think I've said this previously in our messaging, that the 4 opponents that they've faced thus far are grossly all underachieving. I mean, the Vikings were, in most prognostics' minds, were a playoff team. The Saints are a Super Bowl contender. The Lions were supposed to be improved, and the Falcons were a playoff contender. So literally all 4 games going into the season had, fans and, the people following football had high hopes for all of them. But getting back to this game, Atlanta just does not even look. They don't even look like they can feel the team right now. They
I know.
Look so.
They look listless. That's the
listless.
Yeah, they look like one of those bottom tier teams.
And granted, I mean, they've had a lot of injuries. I mean, their whole secondary is gone.
Yeah.
They've had injuries on the defense as a whole, and that doesn't help. But I think Dan Quinn's time in Atlanta is coming to an end here shortly, whether it's going to be, in the next week or the next month. I can't see how he's going to continue with, Arthur Blank wanting Super Bowl championships. So I didn't come out of the game thinking that anything great happened. I didn't come out thinking that anything terrible happened. It was just a win. We beat who we had to play. And the thing, I guess, really that stood out to me was, again, another game where pre-snap motion and misdirection is causing so much chaos on the defensive players that they're literally a step slow. Like they're trying to read and react, and by the time they react, it's over.
Agreed.
So, I'm not sure if that can be sustained. Because I think some of these teams are gonna catch up on this. They're gonna seriously look at this so hard and try to find ways to beat the Packers. And I think I'm of the philosophy that you need to have both. You need to have a good philosophy or a good scheme, and you need to have good talent. I think right now the scheme is winning games. I don't think the talent is. I think their talent can be matched and outdone by the competitive teams in the NFC. Once we start playing the San Franciscos, the Philadelphias, those are the teams that we're going to have some problems against. But thoroughly happy to be 4-0. I didn't anticipate this. Defense, man. Can I go on record on saying I want Penning on?
Yes, you can.
Okay. And this is why I say that. They have guys in the secondary that are truly, truly competitive guys, and they're meant for man-to-man type of a defensive philosophy, and they continue to play the soft, too deep zone on the back end, and they just keep on getting, kicked in the groin on sideline out routes and stuff like that. It's just, underneath, they're just constantly getting killed there. So I'm going to go on record and say Mike Pettin needs to go if this team wants to win the Super Bowl.
No, that's well said, and I think, to your point about the team right now, I never really looked at it from this perspective that you had mentioned, but they're probably winning more with scheme than with talent, and some of that is injury, right? Particularly in this game because you had three key players down versus, one, and that was Kenny Clark. But yeah, and I mean Pettin, I'm not a huge fan of Pettin. He almost seems like Capers 2.0. And when guys are open, they're really open. In the NFL, it's like, I mean, you're considered open if it's like a couple yards, but it's like, okay, a lot of the guys that are getting open against Pettin are high school level open.
Literally.
I mean, but at the same, I will say this on our side, on the offensive side, we're starting to see guys get. There were 2 catches. Tonyan and Aaron Jones caught touchdown passes where there was nobody within 10 yards of them. And that is rare for the Packers. I hate to, harken back to McCarthy, but you weren't seeing that. Everything was contested, everything was threading the needle, and when you got guys, or if they were, it was completely busted coverage. In this instance, it's great scheme, it's great execution, and when you get undrafted free agents like Robert Tonyan catching 3 touchdowns, part of that might have been, for all I know, the Falcons being like, the hell with it, we're done, toilet flushing sound, but.
Right.
I don't know. That's interesting though. That I agree that like the better teams, I don't see us putting up 35 against the better teams. I just don't. They're going to catch up, and I think the league. It's a weird year anyway because of COVID and all that. I think the league is going to get. It'll probably go into next season, not this season, but
we keep leaving points on the table. We could be scoring some more.
This is true. Right. I said Rodgers has
Mm-hmm.
actually. Let me pull up those notes real quick. Rodgers has 13 touchdowns. 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he should have 16.
Right.
There's been 3 drop touchdowns.
Yeah.
But
I think a key through these 4 games as well. 0 offensive turnovers.
That's I had that here. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not sustainable for 16 games, but the fact that they're at where they're at right now, that is incredible. And that's
shut your mouth.
Yeah. Ooh, but let's be honest. I mean, that's a huge reason they're 4-0. I mean, as much as McCarthy always did preach turnover, right? Yeah. And I think it goes without saying, you don't need to preach it. Don't turn the ball over. And I mean, look, Rodgers does not turn the ball over. It is
He's the anti-Favre.
I was going to say, going from Brett Favre, who it was like a 50-50 shot, he was going to turn it over every time he dropped back, to a guy who, I mean, when he throws an interception, you have to like squeegee your eyeballs and be like, wait a minute. No, this doesn't happen. It's just, it is. And I mean, even last year, Rodgers, he had 25 touchdowns, but he only threw 2 interceptions. It's like, that was a down year. 2 interceptions. It's crazy. So yeah, it kind of leads into my first bullet, talking within the offense. I mean, Rodgers is razor sharp right now, and in this game, he's down. He had to throw to running backs, not just feed the running backs, and he had to throw 2 tight ends, and obviously it was Tonyan. But he's the only guy who's right now I think playing maybe, I don't know if he's better, but he's as good, is Russell Wilson. It's between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers right now. I'd probably give the nod to Russell Wilson, but it's almost a push, in terms of offensive MVP. It's absolutely crazy. And then I already noted kind of the lack of turnovers by the offense, and that he's had a couple drops of touchdowns in general. But it's crazy. I don't know if you want to expand on any of that, but.
I mean, they've had over 200 plays in 4 games and no turnovers, 1 fumble. They recovered it, but literally no turnovers and over 200 snaps. That's just unheard of. It's literally, it literally doesn't happen. So are they defying all odds? Yes, they are. Is it sustainable? Heck no. I mean, you can't go a whole season where you average maybe 1 turnover every 4 games. Like there's just no way that that's sustainable.
I wonder what the record is for like most, or least amount of turnovers that an offense is committed for a year. It'd be interesting.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I think I would take that bet. I bet you that I bet they don't have more than 3 turnovers all year.
All year.
3? Yeah. Whew.
All right, geez.
Wow.
I'll take that bet. They are on fire.
How much you gonna how much money you gonna put down on that? He's like,
I don't know.
He's like, I'll bet a cigarette. That's what he'll say.
I can't bet a cigarette. I don't have cigarettes. I don't know. I'll think about that.
A toothpick.
I don't know. I don't know who I'm betting.
Roll like we're in prison. Roll toilet paper. I'll bet you.
Depends who. Well, that stuff's valuable.
Yeah, right now. I saw this meme the other day that was like, God, what was it? It was like it was basically someone from like the 1995 going, what's it going to be like in the year 2020? And then it was a picture of like Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow running away from pirates, and he had 2 huge bags of toilet paper in his hands. I was like, oh boy, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, sorry. There's really nothing to complain about
on offense. On offense, they are great in getting better.
Yeah, and they're a little injured, right? I mean, you got your number one. Look, let's call it what it is. Going into the season, it was Davante Adams overwhelming number 1, and then Lazard, is he a number 2? I don't know. I'd call him a 3, but he's playing above his level, which I'll take.
Fine.
Fine. Exactly. But I was actually watching the game with my dad, and I said after who was it? Somebody went down or something like that, and I said, "Man, we got to watch out, otherwise he's going to be thrown to a bunch of guys named Dave." that's my thing. It's just
I mean, so that's always a risk, but that's a risk with every team.
Yeah, I mean, every play you line up, it could get injured, so it's 100%.
But
hey, I have an answer to your question about which team. And yes,
I knew you were looking it up.
It was recent history too.
Oh, really?
Yes, 2019.
Is it I'm trying to think of a hint here. Is it like completely like you'd never guess what team it was, or would you?
I will. Do you want me to give you a real distinct hint, because this will narrow it down completely? We've played them so far. It's one of the 4 opponents we have beaten.
I would say the Saints.
Right, 8 turnovers.
That's the record.
That's the record.
8 for the season.
8 for the season.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the previous record was set in 2010 by the Patriots, who had 10, and they were tied by the 2011 49ers.
So I mean, we did turn it over on downs. So that to me that actually should count as a turnover.
That's interesting.
I don't know why it doesn't. It should. Okay.
That's very interesting. I never thought of it that way.
And okay, and so when I was saying that, I thought we were having the interception discussion. So I thought I was saying 3 interceptions, but so 8 turnovers total. I mean, I think we'll beat that. I think we can beat 8 turnovers. We're not turning it over. We're not turning it over.
And if there's any team that could do it, it's because they have Aaron Rodgers, who does not throw interceptions.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're going to beat the record. I mean, we're on track to beat the record. Unless we have a game where we have 5, I don't see that changing. So I don't know. I think it's and who's going to do that to us? San Francisco.
If there's one position that contributes to the most turnovers on any team, it's your quarterback. Yeah. So and like you said, Aaron does not turn the ball over. So is it attainable? Oh, I think 8 is well within our grasp.
Yeah, and he's just got a 6th sense this year. He's not making mistakes.
Yeah, well, he's not making mistakes, and he looks so committed and more confident because he's getting the damn ball out in rhythm. Last year he was still it was like this quasi mixture of McCarthy and LaFleur trying to put stuff in, and it's like he would still double pump and he'd hold it too long. Man, he's throwing on time and in rhythm, and he's throwing to guys that you wouldn't think he would do that to. It's like with a guy like Tonyan, you're like, I don't think he's gonna, even if he's open, quote, and he's on time, he's like, I don't see him doing that, but he's doing it. So that's definitely good.
And think about to what we were talking about last year with his touch. We were talking about, I know I was specifically saying his touchdown field was nowhere near what it was used to be.
Yeah.
What it used to be. Right now, I don't think there's a pass that he couldn't make.
Without question. He's
he's on point.
Yeah.
It's
on fire.
It's fun to watch, no doubt. So next bullet I got, I mean, we've kind of touched on it, but Big Bob Tonyan had his breakout game.
Which is fantastic. How long have we needed that? I feel like we need a tight end that can catch, the tight end that can be I know that they even mentioned in the guys calling the game, they're which were terrible, by the way.
I know. Sometimes you don't even get the C or the D team. You get the God knows what team. It's Monday Night Football.
Yeah. But I'm so excited to have he's basically a full on receiver. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's undrafted. I think the Lions drafted him, and then they cut him, and then we picked him up. Now, from what I understand, he was in college. He was a receiver. He was not a tight end because he's kind of like a tweener. He's a big guy. What's funny? This is a really good comment. My dad made this comment during the game. He looked after Tonyan had like his third touchdown. He was shaking his head, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, this is good, right? And he goes, what really pisses me off? He goes, we had Jimmy Graham for, was it 2 years or 3 years? I can't remember.
2.
And he goes, this is good. He goes, we had Jimmy Graham for 2 years. And you know what pisses me off more than anything? He goes, he stunted the development of these guys that we could be throwing to right now. He goes, we were expecting Jimmy Graham to be good. And when he was bad, we could have, he goes, he stunted. And I would go, that's a good point.
Excellent point.
I know.
Excellent point.
That was pretty good right there. And what's funny is Jimmy Graham's actually playing halfway decent in Chicago, but when he was here, it's like maybe we didn't. I'm not saying Tonyan's like Jermichael Finley 2.0 or something like that, but
no. But
if he's anywhere close to even Jared Cook, let's just say, then it did get stunted for 2 years because they were just hamstrung by Jimmy Graham and his contract, and Aaron Rodgers loved him at first, and blah 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 blah. So it was an interesting comment, and I think it makes some sense.
It does. And I think it's imperative that we look at the fact that he can stay on his feet when he catches the ball.
Oh God, he doesn't get tackled by gnats.
Right. He doesn't get
tackled
grass
from the grave.
Yeah. Literally.
I remember watching Jimmy Graham. It's like
every time he would fall down.
Everything looked incredibly labored. Everything.
Yeah, it looked like it was hard.
Yes.
Like, are you traveling through water? It's terrible.
I think in one of our chats, I think in a Slack on game day, I think I was like Jimmy Ed West Graham or something like that. It was like, guy used to be a great athlete. But so what else could you say? 3 touchdowns. There was one, I think it might have been the third one, where he was going out and he was pretending to block, and he literally tripped and fell down, got back up, and he was open for a touchdown. I was like, you didn't see it unfold in real time, but when they replayed it from a different angle, I'm like, he didn't just trip. He fell all the way down, practically did a somersault, got back up, and he caught the touchdown. I was like, that's pretty impressive.
Well, that's why the guys on TV, they called the wrong guy.
Oh, who did they call?
I don't remember who they thought.
They think it was Sternberger.
No. But it doesn't matter. It was whatever it was. Yeah,
I hear you. And so Mercedes Lewis is hurt too, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's his injury? I can't remember.
He has a knee.
Oh, I love it. The McCarthy. I told you when McCarthy, when he goes to his press conference after he loses his, when he's 1-8, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm on the report. I have a brain.
Did you hear the press conference after they lost this weekend to the Browns? It sounded like reminiscent to a conference that he had here. He's like, we're going to stay the course and we're going to continue to do what we're doing. And I'm like, where have we not heard that before, Packer fans? I mean, that was the same thing. So the monotone, we're going to stay our course and do the same thing over and over and over again.
His biggest mistake, I'm telling you, is hiring Mike Nolan. Their defense couldn't stop. Shit, that was such a cronyism hire right there.
I don't know. Stupid. I don't know who's worse, Pettin or Nolan.
They're the worst. They're literally the worst defense. The Cowboys are literally the worst.
They're 32nd in the league, baby.
They're literally the worst. So you have your answer.
There's your answer. There you have it.
Well, who's 31? Oh, Pettin. No.
I don't even know. I don't know, really. And I don't want to know actually where the Packers rank on the defense list.
I think they're kind of middle of the pack,
last week.
Aren't they?
They were 23rd last week before the Atlanta game.
Oh. Well, they'll probably be improved then because they held them to 16. But yeah, I mean, I hold on real quick because I divided up into offense, defense, special teams. So on the subject of running backs, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams are running great and catching passes like wide receivers. Did you see that pass up the sideline to Jamal Williams?
So amazing.
He looked like a full-blown wide receiver. I didn't even know it was him until after he got tackled and got up. I go, who is that? And I thought it was like Malik Taylor.
If you're the Falcons, how do you even play after that? You're just like, we're done.
I know when I think I said something similar. Like when I was watching the game live, I'm like, if you're a defensive coordinator and you're having running backs catch what appear to be back shoulder fades, jumping in the air like a wide receiver and high pointing it, I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
And that's their second best running back, by the way.
Well, and let's be honest about the opposing quarterback this Monday night, Matt Ryan. He was all over the place.
Yeah,
he was looking.
Did you see the one where he threw it in the dirt? I thought the ball got tipped, and he was throwing to the right side. And my dad goes, "Oh, I think he threw that in the dirt on purpose because he thought that." No, because he said he thought
it was that bad.
No, Alexander was going to jump a route, and right when he threw it, he's like, "Oh!" But then they replayed it, and I'm like, you know what? The other thing this is just kind of more of an aesthetic thing I noticed, but white uniforms look bad on grown men. They look so silly.
Why?
I don't know. They're just not flattering.
I don't disagree with you, but it's weird for you to say that.
I think we need to have a woman come on here and comment about the white uniform.
What are you implying?
I think that's where you're going with
my whole thing. I'm a designer. I notice aesthetics.
I think that's kind of sexist, Jeremy.
Exactly.
God.
Yeah. I think you're calling into question and
not even going there. This is an absolute Packer podcast, by the way.
Okay, if you really want to, I mean, look, I even made a comment to my dad when we were watching. I said, I really don't like the font they chose for the numbers on the. I mean, I was really getting into it. Like, seriously, some of they're like the proportions. Normally, you want it to fit within a square or be somewhat of a rectangle, and it was like stretched so high. It was disgusting. Anyway, all right, I'm done. Rant over.
I don't even know what you were ranting about.
The white uniforms.
Oh, that was all part of the white uniforms.
Yeah,
okay.
And even the font on there, I didn't like.
Oh, okay.
I had to make some about
everything.
So then, this is kind of like just a topic, not really an observation, but I said opposing defenses should be scared to think about what this team's going to look like after the bye with the offense kicking butt and Davante Adams coming back.
They are.
I mean,
they are.
You know what's crazy? Their record is without Adams? It's like 6-0 under LaFleur, isn't it? They haven't lost a game.
7-0.
7-0 when Adams has been out, which is crazy.
Yeah, considering he's literally their only weapon.
I think, and it makes you think that it's now like more obvious than ever that when he is in there, you don't have to just I mean, if he's having like a break, like a takeover game, fine. But you can sprinkle it to him and keep doing the other things you're doing. You don't have to be like, oh, we got him back now. Let's do this. I think
being able to spread it around now.
Yeah. I mean,
that makes you unstoppable. I mean, that's what puts you in the unstoppable realm.
That's how you overcome a talent deficiency. Is you get everybody incorporated into the game plan, and then nobody can figure out how to stop you.
Yeah, and the other thing that helps, just like I've said in the past with really cerebral quarterbacks, the Peyton Mannings of the world, is when you have a guy like a Rodgers, who is probably the best field general quarterback ever. Peyton Manning's up there too, but it's like when you have that in addition to him just being a great quarterback to be able to process all that, how do you defend it? Is kind of what I'm saying. It's just
if he's playing his A game, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, when that's a good point. When Rodgers, you have an outside shot, a low outside shot of beating him if he's on his B game. You have no shot. You cannot beat the Packers if the collective offense and he's running his A game. They're unbeatable, if you ask me.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah, awkward silence. There we go.
So we have a bye next week. And
no. No. Dropping the gun. All right, let's talk about the Packers uniforms. No, I'm just kidding. Defense. So I have, the Falcons have a good offense. So the defense holding them to 16 points should be viewed as a win. I think it's pretty much as simple as that. I mean, they were down. What was the second bullet point? Yeah, Julio Jones was banged up for most, if not all, of the game. I don't even know if he should have been playing in that game. I think he was banged up coming in, and then I don't even know if he played in the second half.
No.
But the big one here, and I didn't realize this until I think I saw a stat online or something after the game. The defense held Calvin Ridley to 0 catches Zero.
They mentioned that during the game, I think.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he had been averaging. I mean, obviously he had a ton of targets, but no catches, and he had been averaging double digit catches. I think
he'd been averaging 7 catches a game.
Okay, I thought it was higher than that, but still, nonetheless, I mean, he was obviously the number one guy now that Julio's out, and they did a great job. I put in my notes, I think the play of the game on defense was when Amos came shooting over in the end zone, and he was late, a little late, but he was there in time, and he knocked away that touchdown pass. That would have been a touchdown. It was low, and it was kind of coming in, but when he first saw it, I thought the guy might have dropped it, but then when they did the replay in slow motion, he got his hand on that ball.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, it was great. And that would have been Ridley's one and only catch, and it probably would have been a touchdown, so that shut him out of catches and no touchdowns, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I don't watch, or I'm not terribly familiar with a ton of safety play, but it seems like and I'm just kind of thinking this out loud, but the Packers safeties are okay. I mean, Amos was brought in to be kind of solid, right? Savage is supposed to be the young guy they traded up to get. He's kind of erratic. But Jeremy, I don't know if you're closer to this or whatever, or if you had any comments on safety play, but
yeah, I think they're in the wrong defensive system. I truly do. I mean, Savage in college was a free safety, and free safeties are free to pretty much roam and make plays. And that's what he did when he was at Maryland. Here, I mean, he's all over the field, but I mean, he's nowhere near the ball. You know, his turnover ratio is not what we were anticipating it to be. And Amos is just a solid, doesn't hurt you, doesn't kill you type of a guy. He's just solid all around. He's probably the best safety we've had since Nick Collins.
Amos?
Yes.
So, do you think Amos is playing better than Savage? I guess probably.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you had to put Amos at a free safety position, could he be playing as well? No, that's not his game. His game is to be the protector, the security guard on the back nine, so
yeah, he's not Leroy Butler.
No, but see, here's the thing too, like Savage is covering receivers, he's covering tight ends, he's covering everybody. So he's not truly back there just kind of reading, reacting. Like he's playing a lot of, they're playing a lot of 2 deep zone. They have him on the tight end. So I don't think you're going to get as much productivity out of him in this defensive scheme. Now, if he played with Seattle, I think he'd be a ball hawk, because they're constantly just attacking and they play aggressive. We're here, it's just, zone and zone.
Yeah, I agree.
Zone. We don't want to hurt ourselves, so we're going to keep everything underneath us and not allow anybody to beat us over the top. So,
and what's funny is that generally doesn't work. That zone. I mean, because what I'm getting at earlier in the year, and I know it happened a couple times even in the first game. I guess you could chalk it up to it being the first game, but they were playing, trying to keep everything in front of them, as they say. And then they still gave up, like, I think Jair Alexander gave up some boneheaded touchdown to Thielen and one other guy. It's just like, if you're going to do that, you can't be getting beat over the top with that nonsense.
A zone can be a good philosophy. If you think back to the Tampa 2, that's the famous 2 deep zone. They were phenomenal at that, but they also had a good front 7, so that helped the overall pressure scheme, because then the defense, the backfield doesn't have to sit around and try to figure out what's going to happen. The pressure is getting to the quarterback quickly, so the plays are being made for them in front of them. So they don't have the personnel to play this. Like Jair Alexander is truly the only person in the secondary that's meant for a true zone concept. The rest of the guys are just like man up, beat the heck out of you.
Do you think Alexander would play well in man? I think he'd be good, man.
I think he's a better zone defender. I think he's a better read and react guy, where Kevin King is not.
Oh, I agree with that.
Kevin King is not. So they have 2 starting defensive backs in Alexander and King, whose strengths are complete contrasts. And I think, does that contribute to Pettin's, like, his inability to try to figure out what's going to work best for them? I don't know, but Kevin King is just not a zone defender, and I think that's gonna hopefully, I should say hopefully, but when the season's over, does he come back? I don't know.
I don't know if I'd want to crawl into Pettin's mind to know what he's thinking, because it might be like a bubble or something that says an orange is an orange. Why don't they call a banana a yellow?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't want to crawl into your mind either.
Elliot, right? While I was saying that, I was watching Elliot. He was going. I see him going, and then he goes. Now look, again, I stole that from somewhere. I did not make that up, but I love it when I think that might have been like a Jim Carrey bit or something like that, but it's ridiculous.
I actually thought it was going to be somehow intellectually stimulating.
That's very stimulating.
No.
It's not intellectually stimulating, but stimulating.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Whoa.
Oh man, I got a bunch of inside jokes, but I can't put them out there. I just can't do it. I can't
Tumbling down into Mark Chimura territory.
Ooh. Hot tub time machine. Ooh. No, that's good. Hot tub time machine. If you could
now you got to change the time.
Go back to like 19. Well, when did that happen?
I don't even remember.
But they'd be like,
But now
that'd be it. Like, Mark, what were you thinking? And his answer would be hot tub time machine.
I'm renaming this. This is going to be called Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Sorry. That's too funny. Okay, so I mean, I don't know how much is to say about the defense. They played. I didn't put in here specifically Zadarius Smith, but he played well. Yeah, he had kind of I guess you could say a takeover game. I'll be honest though, it's hard to judge because you could just tell the Falcons are like, the air was already like out of the balloon coming into this game, and then whatever was left is gone. But hey, you play who's in front of you, and if you dominate, you dominate.
And you know what? I think maybe that's enough.
Yeah,
it is for now, but I mean,
we'll see what happens when we play Seattle.
No mediocre teams get in the playoffs. Once you get to the playoffs, it's a completely different scenario. I mean, this year we're going to have an extra team in the playoffs. So does that mean that the level of competition goes down with it?
You're saying that no mediocre team gets in the playoffs, but man, it looks like the NFC East might have they might have a 3-win team.
There's always exceptions to the rule.
Can you imagine having that shirt and you go into the pro shop of Dallas and it says division champs 3-13.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
What is the least number of games you can win?
Well, I know that Seattle hosted a playoff game.
Yeah.
Was it Seattle or was it New Orleans? Yeah, it was our Super Bowl year. They hosted New Orleans and they had a losing record.
7-9.
Yeah.
That was your
and the Vikings actually came here in 2004 and were 8-8 and beat us.
I think they were 8-8 and they beat us.
Yeah.
Was that the Randy Johnson Mooning game?
Yes. And
there were the pants down. Yeah.
There were two teams that went into the playoffs from the NFC with an 8-8 record, and those are the Rams and the Vikings.
Interesting. But yeah, I think the worst record was the Seahawks. They were 7-9, and they won their division. I'm pretty sure.
Do you need me to Google that?
Yeah, 2010. I want to say something like that.
Well, yeah, right. I'm just thinking of the worst record for division win.
Oh,
but if you have a losing record, you shouldn't get a home game, though.
I agree.
I tend to agree with that.
I think it's fine if you're a division winner, even if it's I don't know. I mean, even if you're 8-8, I don't even know about that. But like, I mean, if you have a losing record, you should not get to host the game.
You know, it would be crazy if that did happen. I mean, it's never happened, but it would be crazy if you had a losing record and then you freaking won the Super Bowl that year.
Well, because you could you come off injuries. I mean, that's the luck of the NFL, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't get to do that. That shouldn't be the way that you get to play the
Okay,
that just doesn't seem right.
Andy was right. 2008, San Diego had an 8-8 record. 2010, Seattle had a 7-9 record.
Yeah.
And they beat the
Um,
Saints.
And they beat the Saints at home.
Yeah.
2011, the Denver Broncos were 8-8. This is a division
Wow.
winner.
7-9 division winner.
Yeah.
2014, Carolina 7-8-1.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
so what you're saying is Mike McCarthy in the locker room of the Cowboys, he's got a poster from 2010 of Seattle,
7, 8,
and he's saying we can do this.
Yeah. He probably does.
that, or he has a poster that says "There's always a chance."
Yep.
Or he says,
Well, they have 1 win, right? They get to 7 wins.
Right.
It's not, I don't see how.
"Jeez, I don't know."
They're the worst
Okay.
defense in the league.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, we had the worst
McCarthy ain't
defense in the league in 2011, and we were 15-1. So
That's
you know.
right.
Oh, did Aaron Rodgers go to the Cowboys?
I said 2011, we had the worst defense
right.
in the league. We were 15-1, and we lost at home in the divisional round to the Giants.
And I was at that damn
okay.
game.
And you were at that game.
Abomination.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Don't remind me. Ugh. Okay, so
2011, we were 15-1, and
Yep.
we lost the divisional round.
Yep. Oh, I remember that.
I was just reminding you. You said that, you know.
I think that's the 5th time you said that in the past 30 seconds. Yikes. Yeah. They gave up a Hail Mary TD at the end of the first half.
Oh.
Yep.
That was horrible.
So, special teams. I said Mason Crosby still hasn't missed a field goal this year, but he did miss an extra point. That was weird.
Fire him.
It's
I'm
like
just gonna
Elliott
say,
kickers.
let's hold the tone until Elliott strikes in.
Did you see that stat though, that he's made the most kicks under 50 yards and under in the past, like he's the best in the league in like the past 4 years or something?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I didn't know.
That's why you fire him.
It'll be fine.
Look at him. He's in the fetal going, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Score touchdowns, you don't need the guy.
There you go. That other kicker, like he got signed just the day before or something for Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he missed an extra point too, though. Wind must have really been swirling or something. I don't know.
It was windy out there.
Yeah.
It was windy.
So J.K. Scott, he was on the injury report, I think, coming into this game because they brought in like 9 kickers or something during the week leading up to this game.
Well, up in the past 2 weeks, they brought in 4 kickers. Now, there's a difference between kickers and punters. They brought in 4 kickers, and
what the hell?
I don't understand that. Like there was, Crosby wasn't on any injury report. He has not missed a field goal or an extra point up into this game, and you just signed him to a new contract this offseason. So I was thoroughly confused, and I will take anybody's reasoning as to why that happened, but I am at a loss at why they brought in 4
So you haven't
kickers.
heard anything else on that?
No.
Maybe Gutekunst got confused and thought he was bringing in punters, but he was bringing in kickers.
Oh, yeah. Simple mistake.
Well,
Punter, kicker, they both went with
Same thing.
I don't know. But yeah, I think he's only punted like 3 or 4 times the whole damn year. He had 2 in this game, but what else can you say? Special teams is fine.
yeah.
Not a problem.
So, I mean, that's basically what I got here. Kind of buttoning it up. I mean, they're going into the bye.
Yep. We're going to be undefeated.
Yeah, we can't lose on the bye. That's for sure. So.
No, I mean, I think we're going to be undefeated for the year.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I don't know. I've changed my tune because
no turnovers, undefeated.
Well, who's going to beat us? Grandpa Bay? I don't think so.
Pettin
That's
might
going to
beat
be our
us.
first loss.
You think so?
Whoa! Big news flash! Breaking news! No way.
Well, I'll say this to Jeremy's point.
No.
Nobody kills Packers defenses, no matter who the quarterback, the defensive coordinator is, than savvy veteran quarterbacks.
Ding. Right.
Which, in a way, that was part of the reason I was a little fearful of this game.
Yeah.
Like,
it didn't happen, but it didn't happen.
This is true. It did not happen. I blame the white uniforms and poor font choices.
Horrible.
I don't think so.
I think that's kind of how good are they 3-1?
Yeah.
How good are they? I mean, I know he threw 5 touchdown passes, but he also threw a freaking pick 6.
Well, Okay, I'm not attributing the loss or the predicted loss because of anything but just the matchup itself. Like their defensive line, stout as hell. Like the strength of our offense right now is
that game at home or on the road?
That's in Tampa.
It's on the road.
Grandpa, sorry.
Yeah.
It's in Grandpa. But I just look at it as like a strict matchup. Like defensively, their defensive line, they're going to cause a lot of issues, and that's going to disrupt our rushing attack, and then it could disrupt a lot of our misdirection and pre-snap stuff. Like, that's the only mismatch that I see in the whole game besides, Brady going up against our defense. But their defensive front is stout as hell. So,
who's on their defensive line? Are there any like well-known names?
Well, they got Shaquille Barrett, Vita V. They got Jace Sternberger.
Sounds like an adult film star.
He was in his earlier life.
All right, no distractions. Keep going.
Jason Pierre-Paul, who we all know.
Oh shit, he's still in the league?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Without a few fingers. So
that's right, the fireworks guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it blew up in his hand.
Yeah, it did.
Good Lord.
It did.
PSA, don't hold a lit firecracker in your hand. My God. Stupid. Could you imagine being like the head coach or GM getting that call? Yeah, this is the agent of Jason Pierre-Paul. Like, what happened?
My God.
He blew his hand up. He did what? What happened? He was holding a lit firecracker, and it's like, and he's just like tying a noose around his own neck, like.
And then they sent a picture of his hand at the hospital, and it was all deformed without two fingers. I literally remember that because there was a picture that was going around, and I don't remember what source it was, but there was a picture of his hand, and it looked like Iraq. Like it just looked like
a stub,
a mass murder of his hand.
Well, yeah, when you have a little explosion in your hand, jeez,
a little one, yeah.
Well, when Grandpa Bay falls to the Bears tomorrow night, I think you'll change your tune.
Here's my impression. Wait, no. Stay on topic. Here's my impression. Here's my impression of Mike McCarthy going over the injury report for Jason Pierre-Paul. He has a hand.
He has a partial hand.
More like he had a hand. He had a hand. That would be great.
Like 2 years ago,
he had a hand.
2 years from now, we'll be making that joke, and nobody will get it.
I don't care.
It'll be hilarious.
I'll
still laugh every time.
I'm just imagining like Jason Wilde being like, so what's the story of it? He had a hand. Excuse me? Had or has? Had a hand.
Figuratively and definitively, yes.
Oh my God. Okay, off the rails. Well,
Jeremy's pretty sure they're going to lose. That makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, I want to talk about something we talked about in Messenger today. The Packers were going to be bringing in Snacks Harrison.
Yeah.
For a visit.
Not anymore, though.
He signed with Seattle.
Right.
So one of the best run defenders is going to be on the opposing team. Hopefully that we never have to play.
Now, did he make any comments about picking Seattle over Green Bay? Or is that just assumptions, you think? I mean, it's a good assumption, but
I think that's the second time he had a tryout out there. I think he had one just before the season began, and he never walked out with a contract. But I heard rumblings from others that he does not like how Pettin plays a defensive lineman in his system, and he did not want to have anything to do with that. So
now, is he a nose or an end?
He's a nose, strictly inside between the guards.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously it would have been nice. I don't know what the stats were in the Atlanta game for rush yards allowed, but it seemed like they were okay.
Only gave up like 115 yards total.
One guy who's been pretty impressive, relative to his draft status and whatnot, undrafted, is that Barnes kid who was like an emergency. Now, is he great? No. Is he considering he was like street free agent, had to be brought up and activated. I think it was week 1 or something.
Yeah, he was activated against the
He's
Vikings the day before the game.
He's been a pleasant surprise. Now Kirksey is injured. He's not coming back after the bye though. He's out for kind of like the same timeline as Lazard, isn't he? Like at least a month.
He could be back after the bye, but it's looking more like possibly he might be back for Minnesota.
So. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's any better than Blake Martinez was in this system.
No, he's 10 times better. He can actually cover a receiver.
But I mean, is he affecting anything? Well, I mean, he might be better fit for what we're doing, and I hear you where it's like, look, the issue is probably petting in the scheme more, but at the same time, he's proven to be. I think he's just an overpaid. He's not doing much for me.
Well, they didn't overpay for him. I mean, they only gave him a $13 million contract. It's not exorbitant in this day and age, but are they getting more production than they are at Blake Martinez? I mean, Blake Martinez in New York right now is killing it. I mean, he's got turnovers. He's got double-digit sacks a game. I don't know. But talent-wise, Kirksey is much more talented than
injury-prone as hell, though. That's one thing that
yes.
Martinez gave us was he was available. And yes, I'll tell you what, man, what was it like in the past 3 years up until when he got hurt, Kirksey had missed 16 games in 3 years or something like that. So it's like this was not terribly unexpected.
There is nothing in the NFL more desirable than a player who can be there every game of the season.
Agreed. Yeah, that's underrated skill set, right?
Underrated, yes.
You can be the best player ever, and if you can't get on the field, you're worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Look, I think we've talked about it ad nauseum, but until they change their philosophy at inside linebacker, their fundamental philosophy, we're going to be middling and putting duct tape on that shit for a long time, I think. That's the way it is. I mean, Summers, was he a 7th round pick last year?
Mm-hmm.
He's okay. He's a 7th round pick. But look, these aren't difference makers.
You said it right there. Difference makers.
Yeah.
They don't have many.
The last one they had was Desmond Bishop, and let's not forget he was a 7th round pick, I think. I mean, he was great. He was a great find. Man, going back to that, reminiscing, but that Super Bowl year, 2010, when he came in for, I believe it was an injured Nick Barnett early in the year. Mm-hmm. Nick Barnett tore his ACL early in the year, and Bishop played out of his damn mind. He was
all over the field.
He was great. Missed him. Yeah, when you think about at every level, they had a Pro Bowler. I don't know. Well, I don't know if he was a Pro Bowler, but he was very, very solid. But yeah, I mean, you had Matthews, you had Bishop, and you had Nick Collins, and then Jamal Williams, who was, God, that was just. It's a special time.
Let's be perfectly honest. Good defenses are strong at all 3 levels.
Well, sure, agreed. You got to have somebody worth a darn at each level.
Right, and where are we got Kenny Clark at every level? We got Kenny Clark,
and you could say Jair Alexander, maybe. He's close. I think he's very close to being really good.
He is.
He's pretty damn good, but he's kind of teetering. He takes a step back to pretty good, then he goes to like all pro, and then he's just. I think he's close, but he's not quite there.
Yeah, the consistency needs to be a little bit better.
And but I would say he's probably your second best overall defensive player, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd say Zadarius Smith is.
Well, that's true. Well. The only problem with him is he a liability in the run? But at the same time,
yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
But they didn't bring him in to stop the run.
No,
they did not.
But they're literally putting him in position where he has to stop the run, and that's not his strength. Okay. So that's the talent evaluation of the current roster and trying to get guys around him so that he doesn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. He just rushes the passer. He just creates havoc. That should be his sole job, but he's being pushed into jobs right now that
Part of that's Kenny Clark. It's got to be. I mean, obviously.
Well,
I think that's
no
obvious.
doubt, but I mean, we've been talking about this ad nauseum for how long that they just don't have playmakers along the front seven, especially. They don't.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You know,
I'll never understand the contract extension for Dean Lowry. When they announced it, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then Lancaster
he's a backup.
He's a guy.
He's a backup who's playing starter minutes, and it's hurting them.
Would you consider, was Lowry a backup?
Yes, he's a rotational guy.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
15, 20, 25 snaps a game at most. He's fresh that way. I think that's the problem, is that I don't think he's meant to be playing over 50% of the snaps. Like, it just, on that defensive front, because those guys are taking on so many blocks, they get worn down pretty easy, So is Dean Lowry meant to handle that kind of stuff?
They have no meat, man. Like I've said it before, when you look at like all their defensive linemen outside of Kenny Clark, and since he hasn't been there, every time you see the defensive line, I see they look like all outside linebackers. Even like your supposed big guys on the defensive line. I'm like, he does not look like a defensive lineman. Lowry looks like a slightly larger outside linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just what Pettin likes. He likes a fast defense, and I'm not seeing a fast and determined defense. I'm seeing a fast and confused defense. So that does, when you don't have both of those in sync. Oof.
Yeah. Well, yeah. To your point, it's definitely built on more on speed, but how this is where I'm just scratching my head with like Pettin. It's like, how could you not know that if you don't have big bodies, they're going to run all over you? I just don't understand that.
I don't either.
And I think unless he was just counting on other teams to be like, well, we're looking at analytics, we're looking at this, we're probably not going to do it as much. And then when San Francisco was game plan, they're like, for the NFC Championship game, they're looking at the film, they're going, oh my God. Okay.
They came into this season with high hopes for a lot of second, third year guys like Kingsley Keke.
He's actually been playing decent.
He's fine, but he's
rotational.
He's rotational at this point.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
But they need another Kenny Clark. Like if they had another Kenny Clark, watch out. I mean, Smith would be allowed, or the Smith brothers would be allowed to make the plays all around him.
Preston Smith, very
half a sack, nothing really. Yeah.
He's just a body out there right now. It seems
right now. Yeah,
would you say that Preston Smith was brought in to be more of a 50-50 guy than Za'Darius? Za'Darius are kind of like, get quarterback, see quarterback, get quarterback. Preston Smith are kind of like, you could maybe set the edge a little bit, but also play the run. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's Preston Smith when he was in Washington wasn't a dynamic pass rusher. I mean, I think he had 8 sacks in either his rookie or second year. But every other year after that, he had 4 sacks. So he wasn't a real big sack producer. So is he physically meant to kind of, handle the edge? Yeah, he's that kind of a guy. Is he meant to be covering running backs and tight ends out of the backfield? No, which in Pettin's system, he does. He does plenty of that. That's just the way it is. But like, I'm not going to be down on Preston so far, just because I think the defensive front puts a lot of pressure on him, and I don't think he's that dynamic of a player to be excelling where he's just not meant to, I think last year was the perfect storm. Za'Darius was creating so much havoc, and Kenny Clark was creating so much havoc in between the tackles.
Good point.
And then Preston Smith was on the other side, just
cleaning up.
Right. A lot of single teams out there. So, when offenses look at our defense, they look like they have to double team Kenny Clark, and they should get, dual blocks, whether it's a tight end or a full black chip on Za'Darius Smith, but everybody else can be singled.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they are what they are, right? I think Snacks Harrison was their last hope of any kind of reinforcements along the outside the building for the defensive line. So what do you think? For the bye, I think they self-scout. Apparently, Rodgers was saying too on the Pat McAfee show the other day that none of them are leaving town. because of COVID. I think that's the big reason. And they're being tested every day for COVID. He was not pleased. He was like, he wants to get out of town for the bye. California boy, but
I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, who doesn't?
Oh, I know. I hear you.
Me too.
I'm not going to lie when I say this. Have you guys, like, during this whole time, every now and then, I'll just, like, get in my car and drive? You ever done that?
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we just go drive downtown just to say that we got out of the house,
Yeah, I've done that a few times, even with my daughter. And I'm like, oh, we're just going to drive to Swamico, Zach. But,
right.
Man, when I'm in the car, like, backing out, I'm like, should I really do this? And then when I do it, I'm like, I'm glad I did that.
Right.
Got to do it, right?
Right.
Although I don't want to go too far off the rails here, but yesterday it was 72 degrees in Green Bay in early mid-October, and I went mountain biking, and it was glorious, and it was so nice. I'll take it, man.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I'm off the next couple days, and I think Friday is supposed to be 78.
Is it really? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Our record high is 81, so we're going to be really close to breaking a possible record. So, get
out if
fall in
every
October.
single day that you can do something outside. Get out there.
Yeah.
Make yourself do it.
Yep.
Because this winter is going to suck.
Yeah.
Yes,
beyond belief, without question. But yeah, going back to the bye thing. I mean, they're going to self-scout. They're going to get healthy. And then they play Tampa coming out. Is that right, in Tampa?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be, considering who we played and what's transpired and all that, this is a bigger test than the Saints.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we should cut it off here, and we should record next week.
Okay.
You tired of hearing me talk?
I mean, yes.
Whatever you say, boss.
Yes, sir. I like that. I. That's fine. I'm fine. So we have some material.
Well, for several reasons, but I mean, we're at an hour. And I think coming off the bye would be a good time to look ahead for the whole season, maybe give some predictions. And
we should do that though. We have to do a prediction, don't we?
Yeah. No, I think we do that next week.
Oh, big brain. Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
All right. Don't forget, he had a hand.
Yes.
And also Mark Jamura. Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Man alive. That's one of the better things I've come up with.
So on a bye week, do we still say go Pack Go?
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
Even if they can't go anywhere.
Yeah, really. Stay Pack Stay.
They're staying undefeated. So we got to cheer that.
That's it. Go Pack Go. Stay Pack Stay.
Stay Pack Stay.
Test Pack Test because of COVID.
Test Pack Test.